Chelsea's first Premier League game of the 2018-19 season away at Huddersfield ends in a 3-0 victory for the Blues thanks to goals from N'Golo Kanté, Jorginho and Pedro. Not a perfect performance, but a good performance and a well-deserved win to start things off under Maurizio Sarri. Hello there guys and welcome back to 100% Chelsea for my review of the Huddersfield versus Chelsea game. And we won the game 3-0. What a start to the new season. I mean, that was just great. Not perfect, but it was just great. I mean, we won 3-0. But most importantly, we were 2-0 up and we didn't defend. We actually wanted to score more. But yeah, now I'm extremely happy. Of course, we are covering every single Premier League game of this season, every Cup game, every Europa League game. You know, this is the review. There will be fan cams later on. There will be a vlog. So if you don't want to miss out on any of that, do make sure you subscribe to 100% Chelsea if you haven't already. And also, let's see whether we can hit 1,000 likes on this video. That'd be absolutely amazing. Smash the like button down below because I think we're all extremely happy that we won the first game 3-0. I mean, I expected the start of the season to be tricky and it wasn't perfect, but we won 3-0. I mean, you can't really ask for much more. But getting straight into the review and starting it off with our lineup, and it was basically exactly what I predicted in the preview yesterday. Of course, a 4-3-3 formation. It was Kepa Arrizabalaga, the new goalkeeper, in goal. A back four of Cesar Azpilicueta and Marcos Alonso as the two fullbacks. The two centre-backs were Antonio Rudiger and David Luiz, with a midfield three of Jorginho, N'Golo Kanté and Ross Barkley, and then a front three of Willian, Pedro and Morata. By the way, I saw a lot of people on social media kick off about Hudson-Odoi not even making the bench, but he wasn't involved, as it seems, because he picked up an injury in training. I don't know about the severity of that injury, but I saw it on Twitter, and there was a picture of basically Kovacic, supporting him walking, and him looking in a bit of pain, Hudson-Odoi. So, it sure looks like it was an injury. Probably otherwise he would have been involved, at least on the bench instead of Moses, I assume. But yeah, that's apparently the reason why he wasn't. And Hazard and Loftus-Cheek, among others, of course, were on the bench. Getting into the game, it was fairly even at the start. No real chances for either side in the first, say, half an hour, except one for Morata, but he was called offside anyway. Very tight decision. He then dragged his shot wide anyway, but he sure looked like he heard the ref blow his whistle before taking his shot. So, read into that what you will. And a few long distance efforts by Huddersfield, but nothing that really threatened our goal. I mean, we had way more of the ball, but when we did, Huddersfield set extremely deep, and that's of course when you need your system to be working perfectly when trying to break down a very defensive block. But it was just really good to see every single one of our players, except the goalkeeper, being stood way inside the opposition's half when we were in possession. Just dominated them, trying to pass our way through. And that didn't work, perfectly. Obviously not. I mean, I told you multiple times now, the first, say, 2 months will be tricky. And the first 2 months, we won't just, pass our way through every defence whenever we want to. That's not how it works. That's not how Premier League football works. You don't just do whatever you want every game. Not even Man City can do that. But, it was still good to see how high we stood up, on the pitch. And, how we really try to dominate the game and not just even think about let's just not concede kind of thing, how we've been doing things for the last, say, 5 years or so. So, that was great. Just before that half an hour mark, Huddersfield got into the game a bit better and started to equal out the position a little bit, especially with long diagonal balls towards our left defensive side, where, as everyone could expect, Alonso struggled quite a bit to keep up with his lack of pace. That's where they, kind of created almost all of their half chances where they ended up crossing the ball, but then mostly didn't really come to anything. And then in the 34th minute, we did make it 1-0 through the unlikeliest of the unlikely goal scorers, N'Golo Kanté. I mean, who would have thought it would be him to score our first Premier League goal of the season? Did anyone dare to put money on that? If so, I mean, fair play to you. I mean, we won the ball back in midfield very nicely, played our way towards the left with Willian, who did really well to get past this man, put in a cross, towards the far post where Kanté was left completely unmarked, took the cross on the volley, actually hit it more with his shin than anything else, hit the ball into the ground, and it bounced over the keeper into the far corner. Slightly lucky on the finish, but good build-up play after winning the ball back to score that goal. But Huddersfield almost came back with an instant reaction, because in the 38th minute, following a corner, Meunier hit the post from a header for Huddersfield. Kepa wouldn't have stood a chance to save that. We got a bit lucky on that one. Azpilicueta just about missed the header after it got, it got kind of extended. I don't know the English term for that. Someone got on the ball, some Huddersfield player got on the ball at the near post and kind of extended the cross towards the far post, but Azpi just about missed the header, and then Meunier thankfully put it against the post. Then in the 44th minute though, very nice play from Willian, Pedro, Jorginho, Barkley and Alonso, who made his way into the box after, a Jorginho pass was, continued on with a Barkley back heel. Alonso found himself in the box, tried to go for goal, but was brought down, in my opinion, a clear penalty, even though I saw a lot of people complain about it. The defender didn't get the ball. He only got Alonso, clear as hell penalty. It couldn't really be much clearer. Jorginho was the one that stepped up and converted to make it 2-0 from the spot just before halftime. And that was the first time in that game where Sarri ball really went into motion and it immediately got dangerous and we won the penalty. Such a nice play. You know, Pedro switched wings, came over to the left-hand side with Willian, then laid it back to Jorginho, played a really nice pass for Alonso. Barkley gave it a little nudge with the back heel and suddenly we were in, and it was really good to see. Well, that was half-time at 2-0, and we only really created those 2 chances, but we took them both. We were clinical, and that was basically the one thing that was rather poor throughout pre-season. But as soon as it mattered really, that changed and we were somehow clinical. I don't really know how, but we were. And it's also something that certainly wasn't the case last season. We weren't clinical enough at all last season, which is why we didn't finish in the top 4 mostly. Not an amazing performance in the first half, but decent. Because Huddersfield certainly had their moments and gave us a good game, but 2-0 at half-time was certainly better than I expected. Then getting into the second half, it was a dominant but quiet start to that second half. A lot of the ball, but Huddersfield still sitting very deep when off the ball, and a lot of times just the last pass not finding its target. But, you know, Huddersfield didn't really do anything in the second half, especially for the first, say, half an hour of that second half. But I said we were quiet in the second half at the start, only until 10 minutes into the second half, because that's when Rudiger almost made it 3-0 from a header after a corner, but the keeper just about kept it out. And from the following corner from that header, Alonso hit the bar with an overhead kick, following another Rudiger header that, you know, went just about wide of goal, but then Alonso got to it, tried his overhead kick and hit it against the bar. Unlucky there, would have been a screamer off a goal. But still, most importantly, we were 2-0 up and we were not defending but looking for more goals. It was so beautiful to see. It was so beautiful to see. Then in the 67th minute is when Loftus-Cheek came on to replace Ross Barkley. Just a few minutes later, in the 76th minute, Eden Hazard came on to replace Willian. And we were very dominant still, but without really creating much. Also, it looks like we started to get a little bit tired around the 70 minutes mark, because you know, that's where kind of our shorter pre-season compared to Huddersfield came into play, I felt like. Because Huddersfield did get into the game a bit more again around the 70th minute, which is when, like I said, it looked like we got a little bit tired. But they didn't pose any real danger again, and, you know, that put us under any significant worry. So, you know, they got a bit more into the game, and it wasn't just us anymore. But they didn't really threaten us all that badly, I thought. But then in the 80th minute, Pedro sealed it by making it 3-0 and put every kind of hope for Huddersfield to bed, and it was all calm after that. Hazard did really well in midfield to keep the ball through a tough challenge. The Belgian dragged the ball forward up to just outside the box, which was when he squared it to Pedro on his right, was completely unmarked, ran one-on-one with the keeper, chipped him and calmly sealed the 3 points. And it was obviously great. I mean, it was a good goal, a good finish, good work by Eden Hazard there, and that obviously sealed the game. I mean, Huddersfield didn't really do anything after that, and obviously we could just see the game out. Straight after the goal, Pedro came off for Victor Moses, and that was obviously the last of our 3 substitutions. Just before the end, in injury time, Morata found himself with a decent chance to make it 4 actually, but his shot from just outside the box, even though it looked like it was going on goal, took a deflection and went out for a corner, but that was then really it for the game. And we won the game 3-0 away at Huddersfield. Not an easy place to go, even though Huddersfield obviously just about managed to not get relegated last season. Managed to not get relegated by a draw at Stamford Bridge. Pretty sure it was a draw. So, you know, we won there 3-0. You can't really ask for much more than that, in my opinion. Like I said, it wasn't the perfect or the best of performances, especially for a good 20 minutes in the first half. We struggled a fair bit with Huddersfield, but overall, we certainly deserved to win. And I'd even say we deserved to win comfortably. Only when Huddersfield hit the post in the first half were they really dangerous, and obviously, you know, they would have equalised at that point and the game could have changed completely. Mostly they crossed the ball a fair bit, following a lot of diagonal balls towards their wingers, but our defence 9 times out of 10, if you will, dealt with those crosses really well, and like Huddersfield didn't really pose all too much of a threat. It kind of looked like they were more dangerous than they actually were, in my opinion, anyway. But other than that, we were in control, scored our goals, and took the 3 points back to London, which is obviously the most important thing at the start of a Premier League campaign. Speaking about a few individual performances, and I didn't think that anyone played particularly badly at all, even Alonso, except for the moments where he was simply too slow. He did alright, actually. Of course, he won that penalty late in the first half, but lack of pace, you can't really hold against him all too much. You can only really hold it against Sarri for picking Alonso and against the board for not signing a better option at position. But, you know, I mean, you can't blame him for not being quicker. You can blame him for, you know, mistakes in positioning and tackles and, you know, all that kind of stuff. You can't really blame him for lack of pace. So, you know, I thought he did all right, better than he did in the last few games of pre-season especially. Morata was a difficult one because he wasn't really involved in the game as much as I'm sure both he himself and Sarri would have liked. But I don't really want to blame that solely on him. The service for him, similar to the Man City game last Sunday, wasn't all that great. And of course the opposition sitting very deep as well also makes it tricky for any lone striker out there. But he did hold up the ball a lot better than we've seen him do a lot of times last season, and also he didn't go down and moan at the ref for every single challenge either. And he needs to find his confidence slowly, and, you know, doing the easy things, you know, not misplacing every single ball, not falling over every single time, holding up the ball when he's meant to. Doing these kind of things will slowly but surely gain him confidence, and he needs to, you know, be in full confidence once, you know, the Sarri system, once the system under Sarri fully starts to click and starts to click properly, because that's when he needs to be ready to bang goals in, say, a month or two's time. That's when it needs to work. He didn't do great today, but I don't think, he was particularly poor. I think anyone that says he was poor today is a bit harsh on him. And everyone else today, I thought, had somewhere between a decent and a good performance. Jorginho displayed an absolute masterclass again, in my opinion. The heart of the team, very vocal, commanding, properly leading his team, and I absolutely love it. Kanté, of course, scored the goal, generally played very well, but still needs time to get used to playing in a totally different position as well, I think, which at times even has him sit right by the Biden on the right wing when Pedro moves around. But yeah, like I said, everyone else was quite decent, and that's all really I have to say for the game. It was great. We won the game 3-0. It wasn't a perfect performance, like I'm keep repeating myself right now. It wasn't perfect, but we got the 3 points. And, everyone knew that the start on Asari wouldn't be easy, but we still won 3-0. Obviously, against Arsenal next week, we will have, probably need a good bit of an improvement. But we still have another 4 weeks of training ahead of that. Arsenal to play Manchester City tomorrow. Hopefully we can beat Arsenal as well. That'd be even better. But yeah, that's really it for me. Leave me all of your thoughts on the game. Did anyone impress you? Who was your man of the match? Leave me all of your thoughts on it down in the comment section below. Like I said in the beginning, let's see whether we can hit 1,000 likes in this video. That would be absolutely amazing. I mean, we can't really do much more than winning 3-0. I mean, that's obviously great. The fan cams and the vlog will be out later on today and obviously tomorrow with the vlog. But yeah, also don't forget to check out my social media, which is Last1507 on both Instagram and Twitter, as you can see over here. And also the links to both of them will be down in the description. So if you could follow me over there, that'd be absolutely amazing. And of course, it is YouTube. If you haven't already, do make sure you subscribe to 100% Chelsea. And also don't forget to click the notification button and choose to be notified about all uploads, because otherwise you just miss some of our videos and no one really wants that. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Up the Chels. Great start to the season. And I'll see you next time.